Good afternoon, children. How are you? You're all very good children because many of you sent the assignment of this lesson first part. Others also, please complete the assignment and send to me. So, children, we are dealing the lesson what is inside the atom. So, till now in the first part, we have learned what are subatomic particles like electrons, protons, and neutrons. Along with that, we have studied differences between electron, proton, and neutron properties. Not only that, we have started the atomic models. So first atomic model we have completed, which was given by Thomson. So today we are going to do next atomic models of the atom. Please children, be attentive, listen carefully, understand the lesson, read the textbook after completing the video watching and send the assignment. Okay? So, next atomic model was given by Rutherford. So, Ernest Rutherford was a scientist born in New Zealand, and in 1909 he did some experiments using gold foil and alpha particles. So, those experiments named as Rutherford's alpha particle scattering experiment. So children, we are going to learn Rutherford's alpha particle scattering experiment. So this is the experimental setup what you are seeing in this picture. So just listen carefully each and everything children here. So here, if you see, this is the source of alpha particles and this is your circular ring with a fluorescent screen. This is a thin gold foil. Okay, as this if you observe the gold foil, if the beam of light is coming and striking here, so after it strike this gold foil, so most of the scattered particles are in different directions, you can see here. Okay, and one more point you have to remember here in such a way that here the alpha particle consists of two protons and two neutrons bound together. Okay, and not only that, it is a helium atom. That part also you have to remember. And here you have a thin gold foil, and here it is given a source of alpha particle. Our source of alpha particle is nothing but we have to take a radioactive material. From the radioactive material, during disintegration, alpha beta particles will be evolved. Along with that, gamma radiations also will be evolved. So alpha particles are related to what? Helium ions. You have to remember that. Okay. Doubly charged helium ions He2 plus, which will have 2 units of positive charge and 2 units of a negative charge. That means 2 protons and 2 neutrons. Only that. Okay. And it has a 4 unit of mass. Anyhow, we are going to learn in this lesson only what is atomic mass of the elements. Okay. And here I told disintegration. Disintegration of a radioactive material. Here the radioactive material what we have taken is radium and it is kept in a lead block. And there one slit will be there. Through the slit, this radium material is evolved in the terms of alpha rays. So as this beam of particles, nothing but alpha particles where it is ejecting, it tries to fall on a thin gold foil. Scattering of alpha rays after hitting the foil by placing a circular zinc sulfide screen. I told this is a circular sulfide screen around the metal foil. So these particles strike the screen. A flash of light is produced at that point wherever it is striking on this circular uh, fluorescent screen. So that's what he observed. Just to recollect the idea of Thomson's model of an atom. So what actually Rutherford observed when the alpha particle hit the foil? Rutherford expected that they all would be deflected by positive charge which spread in the gold foil which is related to group of atoms. This is the group of atoms of a gold foil, children. Okay, but what happens really? What he found that most of the alpha particles pass straight. If you see this ray, this is going straight, and this also, if you see, this is going straight without any deflection. This is also going straight. Okay, pass straight throughout the atom without any deflection. But some particles are deflected in small angles. If you see, some particles are deflected in small angles here. This is one. Okay, and only very few particles are deflected through large angles. If you see, very few particles are deflected to large angles. This is one, and this is also one here. If you imagine, this is your angle. For this also, this is your angle. Okay, and again for this also, this is the angle. I hope you have understood. And a very small number of particles were deflected right back. Okay, that part you have to remember for this group of atoms, what you are seeing in this picture. If you see here, there I have discussed about a group of atoms of a gold, but here if you consider only a single atom, the same thing here. If you see, few alpha particles are going straight here. This is all the straight. Here also, if you see, they are going straight, and few are deflected. See, the deflection angle varies here. See, is all, and here also down angles. And if you, when a particle strike at the center, what happens? It is retracing back. Okay, and this is the center, and this is what I have told, that only one atom. If you consider, the same thing happening for single atom also. In the before case, we have discussed about a group of atoms of the gold foil, and here only single atom of gold atom. Okay, I hope you have understood this also. So I told what is the helium atom. This is just a picture. Helium atom, we have 2 protons and 2 neutrons and 2 electrons. Okay, that anyhow in this lesson only we are going to study about that. So what is helium atom is nothing but your alpha particle, children. That's what you have to remember. For that I have shown this picture. Okay. So children, up to now I told this picture explanation. So once listen, these are the main observations what was given by Rutherford. Most of the alpha particle passed through the foil without undergoing any deflection. We have seen in the group of atoms as well as in a single atom also. Some alpha particles were deflected through small angles and few were deflected through large angles. This is what also I have explained. And very few were deflected back, that is through an angle greater than 90. This part also I have discussed. So on the whole, conclusions what he has observed is most of the alpha particle passed through the foil without undergoing any deflection. That means there must be a sufficient empty space within the atom. He concluded by seeing the observations. Okay, a very small fraction of alpha particles that were deflected right back indicated that they met a very large positive charged body. I have shown a single atom. No, imagine that. So that all the positive charge must be concentrated in a very small space within the atom. Okay. So the small heavy positively charged body present in the atom, that is named as nucleus. So on studying the scattering experiment, Rutherford put forward a model of an atom known as Rutherford's nuclear model or Rutherford's nuclear model of an atom. Okay, in that you have to remember two main points. One is an atom consists of a nucleus and extra nuclear part. Listen here carefully, children here. Nucleus is a small, heavy, positively charged body present in the center of an atom. That part already I have told. Next one, extra nuclear part means the space around the nucleus in which the electrons are distributed. On the whole, he has postulated like this. Just see, related to nuclear model of an atom of Rutherford, all the positively charged particles in an atom form a dense, small at the center called nucleus of the atom. Okay, and he also proposed that negatively charged electrons revolve around the nucleus in well-defined orbits. Okay, and one more part is the size of the nucleus is very small as compared to the size of the atom. Already we have seen in the picture. And this Rutherford's model of an atom is also called as planetary model of an atom. This part also you have to remember. So here we have to compare Rutherford's model and Thomson's model. Okay, when you see the picture here, this is the picture for Thomson's model and this is a picture for Rutherford's atomic model. Where is the positive charge placed in Thomson? This whole colored one is the positive charge, and here this is what we have seen at the center. We will find a positive charge already we have discussed, that is nothing but a nucleus. And how are the electrons placed? In the Thomson model, they are embedded throughout the positive charge, whereas in the Rutherford, uh, I told that electrons revolve around the nucleus in a well-defined orbits. So are they are stationary in this model? They are not stationary. They are stationary. Here in this model, they are not stationary. So this is the difference what we can observe up to here for Thomson model and Rutherford's model. Okay. So according to Rutherford's model, what children, it is also called a planetary model. Planetary model means how the planets revolve around the sun. Here the electrons revolve around the nucleus. So in this, if you see the continuous loss of energy by revolving an electron around the nucleus. Okay, this is a picture related to that theory I am going to tell in the next part. So limitations of Rutherford's atomic model. Rutherford's model could not explain the stability of an atom. When a charged particle like electron revolving around the nucleus, it loses energy continuously in the form of radiations. That part you have to remember. The orbit of revolving electron will keep on becoming smaller and smaller. Already what I have shown in the picture. Following the spiral path, and ultimately the electron should fall into the nucleus. That means the atom should collapse. But if it is true, the atom, what happens, the atoms would become highly unstable and the matter would not exist in the form what we are seeing now. So, we know that atoms are not stable. So, however, this does not happen. An atom is quite stable. So, this is one of the limitation, or we can call it as a drawback also. So, next scientist works on the limitation of Rutherford, and he will put his idea for the atomic model, for next atomic model. So actually the drawback of Rutherford is the atom is not stable. So to understand or to explain the stability of an atom, Niels Bohr, a Danish physicist in 1913, proposed a new model of an atom. Okay, that part you have to remember. Okay. So these are the postulates of Bohr's model of atom. An atom consists of a small, heavy, positively charged nucleus in the center, and the electrons revolve around it in circular paths called orbits. The orbits in which electrons revolve are the discrete orbits having fixed radii and energy. Discrete orbits means individual orbits. So I told that they have fixed radii. That means from the center in increasing radii. Okay. So each orbit will have its particular energy also. These discrete orbits called energy levels, or we can call them as the shells also, children, as energy of the orbit is fixed. Hence these are also called as stationary states. This part you have to remember. So Bohr's model of an atom, if you see whatever the orbits we have discussed, these orbits represented by the letter like a K, L, M and N, and you always have to remember in the capitals only. And one more representation also is there, that n is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4. That means here k shell is 1, l shell is 2, m shell is 3, and n as 4. So on, children. And here these representations you have to keep in the mind. Okay. In the next part of our lesson, it is very much important. That's why don't learn for exam sake. You have to remember for the content. As long as the electron which is revolving in a particular orbit, it can neither lose energy nor gain energy. That means the atom is stable and does not collapse. And here you have to remember that as electron is moving away from the nucleus, and the orbits which are away from the nucleus will have a more energy levels than the orbit which is near to the nucleus. That means K shell will have a less energy, okay, level, and N shell will have a more energy level. That's part you have to remember, children. Or first shell is having a less energy level than the fourth shell. So energy is lost or gained by an electron when it jumps from one orbit to another orbit, or one shell to another shell. And one more part you have to remember, as electron cannot radiate energy while revolving in discrete orbits, it explains the stability of an atom. Only you have to remember that whenever electron jump from a higher energy to lower energy level, it will radiate energy or emit energy. When an electron going from lower energy to higher energy level, it absorbs energy or gain energy. This part you have to remember, children. So this is Bohr's model. Already I told that K, L, M, N increasing way. This also, if you remember, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is N is equal to 1. We call it as the K shell. N is equal to 2. L, N is equal to 3, M. N is equal to 4. It is N shell. So, and this is a positively charged nucleus. Okay, you have to remember the structure of Bohr's model like this. So whatever I have explained theoretically, that is in the picture form if you see. Okay. If an electron is in the higher level, already I told if you go away from the nucleus, the energy level will increase. I told that. Remember in that case, and see if an electron from higher energy level to lower energy level, it is moving. Here if you see from the 4, n is equal to 4 to n is equal to 1, if an electron is jumping, what happens? It should emit an energy. When electron is jumping from first shell to fifth shell, it should gain energy because it is moving from lower to higher energy level. It should absorb energy. So that's what I have told in theoretically. This is a picture related to that. Understand clearly, children. I hope you have understood up to here. So here limitations of a Bohr's model of an atom here, or we can call it as a drawback also. Niels Bohr could explain successfully the properties of a hydrogen atom, like the atomic spectra which is emitted by hydrogen atom. Okay, in our class we don't study about the hydrogen spectrum. When you go to your next class, you'll study about that hydrogen spectrum. Okay, but he could not explain the spectra of atoms or ions with more than one electron. So this is one of the drawback of Bohr's model. So many other scientists also worked for these atomic models that you're going to learn in the higher level, children. So up to now, whatever the models we have studied, in none of the models you have studied about neutron. So this is because neutron was discovered later, that too in 1932. So until Rutherford's and Bohr's model, the neutron has not been discovered. So neutron was discovered nearly 2 decades later. Except hydrogen atoms, the atoms of all the other elements contain neutrons in their nuclei. So whatever the model of atom as we are studying now, or we know, it is a contribution of so many scientists. So that part you have to remember, children. If you see the timeline of this atomic theory, in 400 BC it is Democritus, 300 BC Aristotle. Already we have seen about Aristotle. Okay, and Lavoisier, Next in 1800 Dalton. From Dalton we have studied. Hope you are remember. So Thomson in 1900 and Rutherford in 1903 and Milkian experiment is there in 1907. So EBM charge where we have to study in the higher level you are going to study about that, and in 1913 related to Bohr. And we have to remember the mass of neutrons and protons is almost equal, and it is about 1836 times heavier than that of the mass of electron. So the mass of the entire atom is due to protons and neutrons, that you have to remember. And in the things what we have studied, we have to remember that the mass was concentrated inside the nucleus, and therefore the neutrons are also present inside the nucleus. This part you have to remember. Okay. In detail you are going to learn in the higher classes about all the theories. Still whatever the theories are left what we did not cover. So if a question comes to write about all the atomic models, you have to write the atomic models related to Thomson, Rutherford and Bohr. And when you are writing, you have to write the postulates as well as the drawbacks for each scientist. So this is one of the former question you have to remember, children. So children, with that I am going to complete my lesson of this part. So in today's class we have learned Rutherford's atomic model as well as Bohr's atomic model, their postulates and drawbacks. I hope you have understood. Once again I am telling, please read the textbook also. Thank you. Have a good day.